something about the communication, types of communication. There are so many communication. I think we have studied self-communication, self-development, self-motivation, lot of things is there. But generally, if you go, the communication has their certain parts. So verbal communication comes first. Why? Because the verbal communication comes from the vocal and it does not require any practice. Because if we are doing day-to-day communication, it is the verbal communication. So doing the verbal communication, it majorly has, their 4 parts. Intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, small group communication, and the public communication. The intrapersonal is the very personal which we should not communicate in the, 2 to 3rd. But when you're talking about the interpersonal, it can be between 2. It is not restricted. And if you're talking about the small group of communication, like we are doing a small group of communication, it is not a big public communication. And then the public communication. So we'll go little underneath to understand. And after this verbal communication, we redefine our internal communication. Sorry, I have given you one of the worksheet, right? If you see in that, there are 3-4 languages are there. English को अंग्रेजी में लिखा है, अंग्रेजी को हिंदी में लिखा है, हिंदी को English में लिखा है. Something is there, right? So first we'll go for with the part of verbal communication, we'll go for the intrapersonal communication. This is the intrapersonal communication, always communicate with you. Always communicate with you. This is the secret, this is the very personal. I should not say, you should not speak to the 3rd person. So sometimes it's very personal with your family, with your friends, with your husband, wife, whatever. So it is a very personal. The personal communication has also impact. The personal communication comes from you. First of all, with the verbal communication, you will have to speak with yourself. Whenever you will speak with yourself, then only you will be able to speak with others, right? So it is a process of your mental thought that it should be a very, very private. It should be very close to each other, right? Now we are going for the second one. This is the interpersonal, right? This communication is only between 2, where you communicate to each other and you try to understand, like what I'm trying to tell him and what he or she is trying to tell me. Because whenever you communicate with 1 or 2, it's very, it's very viable to communicate. You will be able to tell them, like as we met in the, tea or the lunch, we talk more. But whenever the term comes from here to here, we become little conscious what we speak, right? So this is a one-to-one communications. On one-to-one basis, you can communicate whatever you want to be with your friends, family, whatever, right? We are going for the 3rd one, that is a small group of communication. This group of communications comes with not more than 1,500. It should be 10, 20, 25 that comes under the small groups of functions, press conferences, team meeting. We say this is the small group of communication. Now after a small group of communication, we are going for the public communication. That we say as a public speaker. So whenever we go for the public, we feel that we should be a very good in communication. And that communication should not give the black impact on us. Whenever you have seen the leader who used to go on the stage to speak, he or she is a very precautions with their speaking. If I'll speak something about someone, might be it will become a, impact on others. So these 4 communication you will have to divide within you. Now, this is a very clumsy communication which is happening within. Can you say it? Find root cause, not speak up to the mark with your expectation. And there's, what is this? The second line? Can you tell me, Hemanti, what is the second line?
Asking yourself.
Yeah, this is so many questions and it has been crossed with you. You have already crossed it. No, I don't want to go with this question because this is a very introspecting within me to get it done. No, we always be a comfort zone on our communication. The moment you will get one script to read and to go for the delivery, the moment it will come, what to do? No, if we'll do the everyday practice, I can give you the only 1/2 circle of practice. The moment you have crossed 15, 16, 17, 18, the moment you will cross the 180 days, not 180 days. The moment you will cross the 90 days, not 90 days, come on the degrees. If you will come for the 30 degree, 5 degree, just try to do it something. This is your questions. It's very clumsy because I could not be with the very much power slide and it took a lot of time for me to already generate it. Before coming today, I have tried to come in the weekend, in the evening to learn something, right? And this is the development of that, right? So are you finding language difficulty since it is not your native language? Yes. Our native language is not English still. But still you will have to speak English, you will have to translate it. Are you from the vernacular medium? This is again one of the best part. Because it, get us back. English is your second language. These all questions are there. So unknowingly or knowingly, what we are doing? Unknowingly or knowingly, we are not doing this. Now I have taken something over here. Friends, here we do some activity, understand our problems. What is the problems of effective communication? What it comes, right? I was supposed to give so many activities, but due to the time constraint, I have already kept it this, right? So I think I have given on the 2 minutes or it was not in 10 minutes. I have spoken about the ABCD. The moment if you ask to the ABCD, very learned man, the people will tell you ABCD, EFG, whatever Z, right? The moment you ask them, say Z to A, people will do what are you saying? It is not, but it is not a rocket science. You know from A to Z, but you are not knowing Z to A. Why? Because of their effective practice, which you have not done it. If you can speak A to Z, you can speak Z to A. I can give you one example. If I'll tell you to read 1 to 100, you can read. And if I'll tell you read 100 to 1, you can imagine and you can read 199 something. But the moment it will come Z to A, you will not able to do it without practice. Because it will make very, very clumsy of your mind, you will not able to say. Now the moment it has come in the very beginning of these all communication, I thought, why it is happening that, right? So there are some techniques, if you can do it, you can be with that, right? But I will not cover in this because it requires little meditational part. It requires 5 minutes. So if after the 40 minutes, if I'll get 5 minutes, I can make you everybody within a 5 minutes the speaker of Z2. And you will get the belief that this practice can make me on the any next level. I can say from my vocal communication from A to Z faster than Z to A because I have gone through that process. Right? As Prajesh ji has spoken yesterday, it was a very good lesson for me. While you do the practice starts with patience. If you don't have a patience, don't go for the practice. Otherwise, that practice will make you effective, not effective. Because the moment you are going for the, practice, you will have to be with the process of that. It is saying generally in India, even in language, practice makes man perfect. How all of you are agree? Everyone is agree? Okay, the moment I am saying why practice makes men only perfect, why not woman? It is the right language? No. What do you mean by man? Either M-A-N or M-E-N. Either it is singular or plural. Where is the woman? But we are knowing it's a bondage. It's a bondage. So practice makes everyone perfect. Believe it. Not only man or woman. Practice makes monkey perfect. Practice makes gadha perfect. S perfect. It's looking something odd. Practice makes parrot perfect. If the parrot born and brought up in Maharashtra, the bird will speak the Marathi language. If the parrot is born and brought up in UK, the parrot will speak English language, right? So it is your internal thought that you are getting hit, right? So again, I'll say only today, it's a ZYXWBUT SRQPON MLKGH GFEDC. So I can read faster than this because I become flawless. When you will become a dancer, you will become a flawless. But if you are not a dancer, the first time you will come from there to here to dance, you are a very, inside with you, right? So this is the effective communication. Now,